TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Join me, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty, on my podcast, My Life of Crime, as I take on true crime investigations like no other. This season, I'm looking into the labyrinth of crime and secrets within families. I'm cutting straight to the evidence and talking to the people directly involved, including investigators and the families of victims. Listen to My Life of Crime with Erin Moriarty wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Central Texas Living with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Living, the podcast. I'm Ann Harder, and we're going to talk local music. You know, I love to talk about local musicians and hear their stories. And I have none other than Johnnie Bradshaw in the studio with me. It is so good to have you here. You know, you've celebrated more than 50 years playing music.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
It was a great article that Carl Hoover wrote a few years back when you celebrated your 50th.
See, that was in I think 2015.
I was going to say 2015, so it's been a few years ago.
We're up to 56, stretching 57.
Well, you know, it's interesting reading his article, and that's that you never really were a professional musician. You got close to it. But have kind of been happy to not be a professional musician?
Well, early in the Starlight career with Phil Duckett, we went to Nashville a few times just to try to get some of his music done. And then I thought, you know, I don't think I'd want to live. I'd rather be a bigger fish in a smaller pond. And I've always, as you know and people know, I've always been at the local, so when I say local, Central Texas music scene.
Yeah.
That's the reason we started MACT. You know, we had our little radio show. We had Brian's Born, Texas Born Dance, and then the reason for the Stars Over Texas, just promoting the 50, 60, 70 miles around Waco. The music, the talent, as you know, the talent level we have. But now,
my goodness, yes.
There was a time I did the road thing right after Starlights, and it was 81, 82, 83, the Night Owls. So we have to be real professional, watch everything you do, traveling, worried about everything. And I decided after about 2 years out, I didn't want any more of that either.
It's got to be a hard life.
What little I did, a lot of people go to it, they like it, and that's what they want to do. But I like being a weekend warrior, and there was some times on the weekends was 7 or 8 times a month, but still, I am local. Yeah,
your beautiful wife, Barbara, she big supporter.
Oh, she's been just great for me. I always like putting her out front somewhere, taking money or doing something because she's easier on the eyes than I might be. So, Barbara's we've been married 39
because
years now.
it can be a stress, on a marriage when you're kind of also married to the band.
She's heard all those phone calls I was making when we first started MACT, just calling musicians.
You're talking about the the Music Association of Central Texas.
Exactly.
And you helped found that.
I did find it.
Yeah. So when was that?
Well, that was from 1998 and 99. I was on the phone calling people to see what they thought, putting out getting with Carl Hoover. And so our first meeting was March 11th of 99 at the Melody Ranch. About 25 people showed up. So we had another meeting. So we had meetings every month from that, and we didn't know what we were going to call it at the time. Didn't know if we was going to have anything at the time. Our official name when we got to be a 501c3 was about 2 years later when we named it Music Association of Central Texas.
MACT, and I just recently had a big festival, music festival,
so
down in
to
Salado, and prior to that, big block party on Austin Avenue, and
Monica Shannon and Top and Tamara Clark and
Casey Stanislaw on this show, and so they're kind of taking the mantle, if you will, of what you started.
I'm so thankful. I had a lot of people helping me back then, and I guess I was president 10 out of the first 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there was people like Jim Guest and Bill Garrick and Wes Hardin and Mike Donahue and James Hurst. They were all presidents for a year or so. Brad Vaughn. So there's been a lot of people who took the reins.
Involved. Right.
It's good to see it continuing, because it's all about supporting the live music in Central Texas.
Well, of course, live musicians with COVID, really had a tough time of it.
Yeah, sure did.
Especially those that try to make their living playing music.
Well, even I'll tell you what, part-timers, you
depend on.
Well, that little extra income buys a bag of groceries or two, and if you're playing enough, and you can pay some bills with it. When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, but we talked about how that did provide a nice little break for some creativity.
Yes.
Doing, and let's talk about the local music scene, the local, original music. I guess this is considered Texas country as far as what you all do, right?
Well, when you say you all, you mean my band?
Yeah, your band.
No, we don't mess with original music. We're a cover dance band. I've been proud to be a cover dance band. And we play some of like Don Crum is in my band now.
Mm-hmm.
He's written several mini songs. I think Gary P. Nunn put one out.
Really?
I used to play his music along with a lot of other local music on my show back in 2005 to 2013. Of course, Brian Thomas was a big part of that. But I've never been one to, I don't write songs, but I like to promote those who do.
Right.
I like to help those people. And so as far as being an original artist, no, I'm not a singer-songwriter. I'm a singer-drummer promoter.
Mm-hmm. And you do a great job at that, and have had great success with Stars Over Texas Jamboree.
Nine and a half years before COVID came in and stopped us.
I know, really, yeah, because you have a faithful fan support.
We did. We do. You figure 9.5 years at Lee Lockwood like we did every month. 115 consecutive monthly shows. Some are not as well attended as we liked, and none of us bought fancy cars because the partners were the last ones on the pay line.
They get paid, yeah. You pay your musicians, yeah.
Then when we got with the Hippodrome in June, that was first few shows were really good, and they're great people down there. What a great venue to put on a show.
Such a historic place.
Historic place, and it was good up there. But you got pros and cons of each venue that you add, and our older crowd, we have an older demographics. We have to persuade them while there is adequate parking down there.
Yeah, there is, but they may not think that.
Yeah, we try to educate them on that, and just a lot of things that go back and forth when you're selecting a venue for your show. We're Stars Over Texas Jamboree. We've traveled a little bit, and we have some plans maybe if we get the proper backing to take it around state a little bit more, but that's not going to happen for a while. First, you have to establish yourself back in our hometown here.
Yeah, see, I remember like Johnnie High Music Review. You familiar with that one?
Yes, I used to go
Is
see.
he still? I mean, I don't know.
No, Johnnie High passed.
I was going to say he
ago.
probably is not still with us.
When we first started our show, Terry Roller and Andy Thomas, who was important and the reason we started Stars Over Texas to begin with. We went to where the Johnnie High's show was now located all the time. They didn't travel anymore, and he had passed. I think his daughter or his son had taken over. He was in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
And we went there to check it out to see what it's like. And we had a couple of ladies who attended our show. In fact, the three of us had a double date. We had kind of Wanda and Lou. Great ladies, fans of ours, and so it was the five of us. I checked with my wife, make sure we could have a double date, and we five went up there and saw the Johnnie High show. I'd seen him at the Heart of Texas Coliseum before.
Yeah, I think I saw one of his shows at the Hippodrome, maybe. But yeah, to have that kind of a vehicle, if you will, for musicians to be able to kind of showcase their talents, sort of a a mini Grand Ole Opry, I guess, in a way, a local version of that.
There's a lot. There's less now. We're one of the few
right.
of these jamborees, or you call them operas, all around the state. Of course, Jim Guest, when we was forming our team, original team with Andy and Terry Roller, who had come to some MACT functions and talked to Terry about being one of our first partners. Then Jim Guest came back to town from Branson. And, Jim's history is as a band leader out of Temple, but also starting in the late 70s with Reba McEntire. Maybe not starting, but was in a band who backed Reba McEntire in the early days. Saw Jim. I said, so we nabbed him because I wanted more of a music guy. Then after some people left, then we got Ralph Sparks about 6 months later. And you know what a treat.
I know.
What a treat
he
that
is
guy
just
is.
a joy. He's a showman, but what a great musician and singer. Just so much fun.
So Stars Over Texas, we want to help get more publicity for local. Plus we have a house band and backup singers. And Terry Roller has been really good at finding some new talent. I seem to get set a lot on people I know, people who are maybe more veterans. I look for young talent, but Terry, that's what he does. So Danielle Reed and Megan Brucker and several others, for a while he's bringing several younger talented people to our show. And we want to get back to that once we get things settled more. So
yeah, and still kind of a little bit in limbo, I guess, in a way.
We are.
Gosh, so many great shows. I've been just so honored to sing on a few of your shows with you, and it's just been a lot of fun. Things change, though. Musicians change. People get older, and
I like to invite people. As we've talked about, we got the Christmas show edition that were good lineup. And things we're trying to decide right now because COVID is still lingering a little bit.
It's hard to determine if folks are still very concerned about being in crowds.
I think our demographics, which is the over 55 or maybe the over 65 crowd, are a little more concerned than what younger people.
Maybe so, yeah.
We're all hoping so, but so it's fun, and we try to keep it going, and we're going to continue. By the way, go to these Stars Over Texas Jamboree and like our Facebook page and make sure
you get all the information on
sure
upcoming
updated.
shows.
Terry Roller and I use that quite a bit.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about your background as a musician. When did you know you had a flair for music? I think, didn't your dad play? You didn't fall far from the tree?
No, it's true. My
say?
daddy is, in fact, his picture's on that wall at the Hippodrome. He was Daddy was about 6'6" and tall left-handed fiddle player. Johnnie Bradshaw Sr. is how we did that because I'm Johnnie Bradshaw also. But he had, played his fiddle during the Depression in Oklahoma. His parents were sharecroppers, and when he moved to Texas in '46, he started playing some with the local people. So he had a band, Johnnie Bradshaw and the Syntax Playboys. And I'm the oldest of the siblings. There's 2 boys and 2 girls. He wanted us all to be fiddle players. Well, my brother and I became drummers. My son became a drummer. I can play a few songs on the fiddle, but just for his, we did a couple of reunions together. I could play parts. But so when I was about 11 or 12, he had me starting to play drums for him. I played little drums here and there. And then at high school, the Veselkas, Kenneth Veselka and Ronnie Veselka and Jerry Veselka and Henry Veselka.
I know those names.
Well, Henry and Jerry lived in China Spring, but they went to Riker. And their cousins was Ronnie and Kenneth Veselka. And so we formed the King Bees. I guess it was 65 and 66 that we had that. It was, like 4 Catholics and a Baptist. I went to Erath Baptist Church.
And that was kind of a rich time. In local music, the Morticians starting up about that time.
Oh, you had Morticians, Night Bridge Quintet, and the Malibus. There was a battle of the bands at the Heart of Texas Coliseum in '66, I think it was. And the Morticians won it. Night Bridge Quintet, I think, came in second. And that was several. In fact, Jim Chase was in one of those bands.
Did he play in one of those bands?
Yes, he did.
Really?
I'm an archivist, a music archivist. Now on TV they may call those hoarders, but But I keep a lot of musical stuff, and so I've still got the flyers from the event, which one of them named the members of those bands. So that was a good time. I think Shep Barrier.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, he had a
Promoted
music
that.
company.
So anyway, so we did that for a couple of years, and I went off to college, Arlington State. One semester, came back to MCC, and about '69, Kenneth Vaselko was starting to play some steel guitar and stuff with John Sorter and Bob Hill and David Slayton, and their drummer was going to be shipped off to Vietnam, '69.
Yeah.
So Kenneth told them about me, and I got into the Starlights. No Phil Duckett at that time, no Don Franks, no Gary Syka. That was later. And so we had to join a union, or did join the union, and we got to figure who's going to be the leader. They all looked at me as I said, I guess it's you. So I wasn't a born leader, but I became the leader.
You figured it out.
So I got us our first book in the Frontier Lounge, which is no longer there. My father-in-law, Reba, was my first wife, and her dad, James Ray Blanton, would go to Frontier. He was one of their good customers out there. And E.B. and Lucille Firkin. Sam Firkin, I just had my hair cut yesterday by Sam over there at Diamond Point Barbershop. So Starlights got started, and we played mostly small places. And
Now you say this was a cover band.
we've always been a cover
What
band.
kind of music were you?
We were playing country and rock. Yeah, we've always been a cover band.
Did you have like a song everybody wanted you to play? What was big?
Oh, boy, early 70s. I don't think we take some requests, but most of the time we just had our own little mix. It was whatever, wasn't the newer songs of the day, but some just classic country.
Yeah.
And then we did play in those days when the Melody Ranch was first built. Bruno Wafinowitz was wanting to put Buddy Moore out of business, and Buddy Moore was across the street at the Western Club. And so he built what is now the Melody Ranch was in, and he had different bands. And we were lucky we got in. We weren't ready for that our band was not that good at that time. And so we started playing Cleburne and other places. And finally, when Kenneth Vaselka's sister, Cecilia, started dating Phil Duckett, he's in the rock band Crystal. I tell you, they did some Alice Cooper songs. And
The Snake and the whole bit.
Yeah, and Gary Sythe is in that band and several others. He came to rehearsal in about '76. He sang Make the World Go Away.
Oh,
in
that's a great song.
In his B.J. Thomas kind of voice he had at the time. So we grabbed him, and then later on Gary Sythe, and Don Franks came in on saxophone from Corsicana, and that's where the Starlights started being a house band at the Melody Ranch. And it went on. We got to play in Silver Dollar North and South and Austin and Dancetown, USA in Houston, and put out 4 8-track tapes.
Oh, I remember. Some people would look at you like, what? What's an 8-track?
T-shirts, sold a bunch. We were pretty big. And then I went on to the Night Owls. We were on the road and stuff, and Starlights continued for a little while. But
Yeah, well, there's more to the story. We're going to take a little break right now, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from Johnnie Bradshaw about some of the great history of these bands in Central Texas. Stay with us.
Hey, I'm April,
Hey, I'm Caroline, and this is Bloody Happy Hour.
your newest true crime comedy podcast.
So grab your favorite drink and join us every week for Thirsty Thursday.
We promise to tell you the bloodiest stories and give you a laugh in between. Go find us, follow us, and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts, because guess what?
We about to be sipping on some murder.
F-Bomb. This is Mandy and the F-Bomb, where we shed light on stories and invite you to find your place and purpose in the world of foster care. Through my involvement with families involved in foster care and being a foster mom myself, I've learned that it's the things that wreck us the most profoundly that can stitch us back together into the best, purpose-filled versions of ourselves. Tune in to Mandy and the F-Bomb. It's stories that invite you in to find your place and purpose in the world of foster care. You can find us anywhere you get podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
And we're back with Johnnie Bradshaw, hearing about some of the great history of local music in Central Texas. Now, you tell me there was a club under the old Cox's building in downtown Waco.
About 81, Bill McCoy had sold the Melody Ranch. He sold it to some people out of Temple, and a lot of us didn't tend to get along with him very well. So I thought, well, let's just put him out of business. I'm a funny man. So we found out about this place. We called it the Western Palace when we opened it, but it had been a black club. Mm-hmm. And they'd went out of business. It was really nice, big dance floor. But we were trying to fight the stigma of downtown.
Right.
And we actually...
Because that was kind of... That was during the era of the brain dead days, if you remember.
Yes.
But Sam Jack Molasson said, downtown Waco is brain dead. And, of course, it's not that way anymore.
No. But see, we thought at that time that downtown was going to make a comeback.
Right.
So we were about 35. We were about 35 years early.
Just a little ahead of your time.
Visionaries.
You were, no question about it. No question about it.
So we had the club for a short while, and then the Night Owls. We formed the Night Owls after that to go on the road. And was getting booked around the state of Texas, and that band was Kenny Tynes and Ronnie Rogers, and Jimmy Jones, Don Franks, Carrie Lee Thomas, Phil Duckett, and I. That only lasted a couple of years. A great band. I got some of that on my YouTube channel. You might want to go listen to. I'm not saying great musicians, but we were mostly top A personalities. And you really need to have some more laid back people in your band. And we didn't. But we got great memories of that. And then I formed the Bradshaw Gang. That was my longest lasting band from 83 to 2010. We had the Bradshaw Gang playing once a month at the Melody Ranch for about 15 years and playing around. My dad, of course. My son would play some. My brother would play some. And I had probably 40 different musicians in that band. And then I was going to stop playing music because we started putting the Stars Over Texas Jamboree together, 2010. And we started it. And then about 3 months later, Andy Thomas said, Johnny, I've always wanted to have a band. Would you help me form a band? So that's how we have Out of the Blue now.
Mm-hmm. Out of the Blue. Andy,
he got in 5 years, he got all he wanted of me and the music business. So he did 5 years worth. And after 55 years, I'm still going. But so we have my band now is Out of the Blue. One thing I missed out is right there in the middle, Rita Jones and Mike Jones had always been friends of mine, and they had their own band back in the 70s and 80s. He's a good singer, and she's quite a piano player. They had their own band. But they started coming to MACT, and they had some music they wanted me to listen to. They wanted me to be the demo singer for a Bob Wills kind of song, Life's Too Short Not to Live in Texas. It's a good song. And she had a bunch of songs, and they sent me as just a joke, So Long Texas, Hello Mexico. I listened to that and told them, we got to do this one. That was when illegal immigration was a big topic of concern, and people had different,
kind of still is,
different opinions on that. So it was a humorous song. It wasn't meant to be mean to anybody, but as you know, we got different kinds of publicity on that. Carl Hoover wrote up an article, and then the San Antonio Express had a front page article. All of you nice folks here in town interviewed us. News talk stations around the nation interviewed us. So I guess that's my 15 minutes worth of fame. But again, I didn't write the music.
Right.
Rita Jones, on that CD we have, she wrote 7 out of the 10 songs. Got some good ones. Talking about, I like supporting people who write the music. I mean, if it wasn't for people writing the music, you and I wouldn't have anything to sing.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
So, that's a pretty quick. There's others, but we don't want to go into over the complete. I got some jokes I could tell you and some stories, but this is going to be a family podcast, so I better just...
we'll keep it as clean as we can.
Let's keep it family.
But you do have, I think I read that you have personas, Johnny Tex, and who's cousin Uncle Bubba Jr. the Third?
My dad and I at one time were doing Paul and Junior singograms. Mm-hmm. Though it's easy for me to act like a big dumb hillbilly. And my daddy was tall. He put on overalls on. He'd drag one foot, come in with his fiddle. Sometimes he put it in the toe sack. But we were hired to go do singograms to embarrass people. Mm-hmm. And I liked that. I had fun doing that. One of them is, I can say it now, one of them is Dudley Haas.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody hired us to go to Dudley Haas's nice house on the lake.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of many Paul and Junior things we did. And to walk in during their dinner party as cousins. I was always somebody's cousin, and I always would find different things about him that I could use. He was a gentleman.
Oh,
You
yes.
could tell he
Absolutely.
You could tell he didn't want to say her. And we did.
How do I get rid of these two guys?
We sing, we act.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, we do songs. I do.
And of course,
hillbilly.
I'm sure he never found out who hired you guys to go.
No, he called me up a week later. Johnny, I sure enjoyed that. I would like to send a thank you present.
thank you note, yeah.
Whoever hired you. I said, Dudley, no.
Not telling my lips
So
are
we did
sealed.
Paul and Junior.
That's
my,
funny.
My dad passed in 2001, so I continued the singogram as cousin Uncle Bubba Junior III. And I've done 3 or 4 skits, 8, 10-minute skits on the Stars Over Texas. One of them's on YouTube now. Just mostly reading things, so I can't remember stuff like that. But if I've got a list to go by and ad-lib from it.
Just clean fun.
Yeah, and I still do the singograms, not many lately, but it can be a different type of anniversary or birthday or,
Yeah.
something.
Well, so you're staying very busy. No question about that.
Yeah. Could always use more. I also could use more business.
But I mean,
I stay busy. Yeah, I stay busy.
You have a profession though. Tell me what you do.
I tell people music is my life, but insurance is my living.
Okay,
And
there you go.
Of course, I retired out of the insurance, but I kept my license. But 6 years ago, I got back into it at the suggestion of a good friend of mine, Jim Anderson, who'd booked the Starlights on our 45 RPM of a song that James Hand wrote in we wrote it and we put it out in 1976. So Jim Anderson was with Anderson Kent, and they do we do a lot of different things, and several people there other than me. But we do the Medicare Advantage. We sit at clinics and
it's very confusing stuff. And people that are reaching that age of Medicare, they need some guidance.
Well,
I can tell you.
It's the help that we sit at the clinics and send it to Walmarts and HEBs. So when people have questions in an unpressured like situation, in fact,
Right.
They're very strict. Everybody's very strict. The government is very strict on how you approach and talk to people. So it's a good way to do it. And so I do that. I've been doing that for 40-something years, insurance, life, or whatever.
Well, I'm so glad, though, that you have pursued your passion of music and have so many great stories to tell. Thank you for sharing those with us. But I like to end these visits with a questionnaire. It's similar to the one the late, great James Lipton would use on Inside the Actor's Studio. I don't know if you remember that TV show. But he would ask these questions. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word? Family.
What is your least favorite word?
Pressure.
Yeah.
I don't. At my age now, I like being active, but I don't want to be under pressure anymore to perform. I like to. I'm not a nice person when I'm under too much pressure anymore. Used to love it. Now,
I know. We lived under pressure.
I'm a one-track mind. Let's get this done. And
yeah, get things handled. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
At age 74, what turns me on? Well, I enjoy, as far as back to the music, I enjoy a performance that the people are, you could tell they're into their music, whatever it is, whether it's doing a cover music that they love or doing an original song they love, is see that they're really into it.
They're responding.
And then also one of the other things you like is when you have a receptive crowd. A lot of people are learning this. If you give a good entertainer some applause, and they'll give you more, if you show them that you like them.
Yep.
Also by paying the cover charge when you go.
That helps too. What turns you off then, creatively or spiritually or emotionally? not paying the cover charge.
Well, I don't want to be cruel here. There's some people that they think they're a musician, and there needs to be more buffer zone sometimes between those who think they are and those that are. And of course, that's hard to. Everybody's got their own opinion of that.
Mm-hmm.
One reason I knew it was time for me to start backing out of MACT, because Top and Tamara Clark came in, and they really had an open mind a lot of things. And then Monica Shannon came in. I think she's great, but I never would have put art in with music. I was uneducated. After I saw what they did downtown, I said, wow. And then this music arts festival, wow.
Yeah, great crossover there.
And so that's a good thing, that more open-minded people. Plus, I kept the Music Association to 4 or 5 genres. I didn't want to have hard rock or rap in it. If I was there now, I still would want to.
Yeah.
Wes Hardin came along at that time. He was president. He brought it in, and it made us a stronger, larger organization. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
I sure didn't know it all, but I knew that in Central Texas, as opposed to Dallas and to Austin, that there's a lot of good talent.
Mm-hmm, no question. What sound do you love the most?
The saxophone.
Really?
Don Franks. I've been lucky to have Don in my band since '77, off and on. I used to go back before I ever knew him, and when I was younger, I'd go get Boots Randolph. I think a saxophone. Of course, my dad's a fiddle player. Mm-hmm. I like that. I mean, there's a lot of instruments I like, but
that's great.
The first at the top of the list is a good saxophone.
Yeah, Greg Beshara. I think he.
Greg is so cool.
Great. Oh, I know.
Jackie Fletcher from the old days, and Ron, the gentleman just retired a few years ago from MACT's commercial music department. He was sort of in charge. Mm-hmm. Is it Rob Page?
Yeah, Rob Page, yeah.
And there's just a bunch of them. Dickie Rosser from Johnny D's Rocket 88s. I'm going to leave somebody out here.
Yeah. What is your least favorite sound?
Least favorite musical sound? I guess
any kind of sound, whatever. You just go, I don't like the sound of that.
There's several. I have to give them all equal dislike, but I don't know. I dislike real heavy bass, overdone, low end music.
Right. You can hear it on the streets sometimes. Yeah.
Even country music has got where they've added. They think that the bass guitar and the drummer is the lead of the instrument. No, that's a foundation. So yeah, I remember having an argument with my good friend Louis Castellaw. He was a sound man at the Mill Ranch in the 80s. When they first started adding more bass, more different kick drum, and I told him, I don't like the way the kick drum sounds. It's the way Nashville's doing it. I won't tell you how I replied to what I thought about Nashville. But
this ain't Nashville.
I like, it's just good. I like a lot of music.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. What other profession would you like to try that you didn't?
Well, I always wanted to be a truck driver, but I learned very early I would never make it because I can't back my car up right. If I had to back up a trailer, I'd get fired in the first week.
Yeah, those guys and gals have to know what they're doing.
I like traveling. I would have liked to have traveled more, and I always said I'd like to have been a truck driver, but I didn't pursue that very long. So,
what profession do you know you would not want to do?
I wouldn't be a parts salesman at any parts store.
Okay.
It's too much stuff to look at, and it's just
to know.
too much to remember.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. You see those things on Facebook now where they say, "Here's your professional guitar player. He's over there playing. He shows his pedals over here and his songbook over here." Well, I understand some people use pedals too much. And some of the best guitar players I've seen don't use them as much. But as far as a singer, and your memory will go on you young folks. Your memory is going to leave you somewhat.
And you start making words up.
Yeah. And so
there,
it's
done
good.
that.
It's good to have a songbook or a
right.
set list. It's a track to run on.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, what do you want to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You were just like my wife. I'll talk more about her some other time. You got to be a good friend to people, and you want to treat people like you want to be treated. But good job. Come on in.
Come on in. That's right.
I'm going to forgive those bad things. Come on in.
Oh, Johnnie Bradshaw, it's been a delight. Thank you so much. And again, folks can learn more about Stars Over Texas Jamboree. Go to the Facebook page, like it.
Check out that. Like I said, we're talking now about the December 9th Christmas edition. Things are sort of up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But we got some great folks on there. Who's this Ann Harder
Yeah.
lady? And
Oh,
Teresa Byford and
some great musicians.
Rainey Ray and Megan Brucker, and then all of us guys, the guys.
It'll be a fun show.
Hopefully.
It'll be a fun show. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ann. Appreciate you.
Central Texas Living is part of the Rogue Media Network family. Be sure to check out their other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate us 5 stars on iTunes and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Living, the podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.